I'm Michael Arts. This is a special edition of the Michael Arts Show at the Metropolitan Pavilion in New York City. We are here doing CES Unveiled. CES Unveiled is a micro CES, which is 2 months before CES in Las Vegas in January. We'll be live there as an official media partner. We're live here. It is exciting. We'll be at the Las Vegas Convention Center, the Sands, the Aria, all of their venues, and CES is the greatest consumer electronics show in the entire world. It is unbelievable. They have the most amount of vendors, the most amount of square footage, the most amount of people, the most amount of attendees. I think they beat 150,000 attendees last year, and it is just my favorite show of the year. It's unbelievable. We're very proud to be an official media partner. This is like a little micro version to show you some of the latest innovation that is going on. All right, at BeTerrific TV on all social media, hit us up. You can also hit us up on feedback, join our Slack chat like Jenny, like Digital Phil, like CJ, like JC, like Taubes, like all the wonderful Terrifics that have 24-hour real-time conversation with us, you, and the rest of the Terrifics in our Slack chat. To send us feedback or join our Slack chat, send us your name and an email address through connect@beterrific.com. You guys are the best. You make BeTerrific special. This is why we do this. All right, I'm really, really excited about this next company and product. It is really awesome. The product is called Portal. It is a new router, and this gentleman's name is Eric
Kurniawan.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You also, I want to say, were nice enough to move your sign over there so that we can get a better camera shot behind all our guests. I really appreciate that. Ignition Design Labs is the company. First of all, tell me about Ignition Design Labs.
Sure. So Ignition Design Labs, we are a startup company. We were formed a little over a year ago. And we're actually ex-Qualcomm engineers. So a few of us essentially decided to move from Qualcomm and then started a router company.
So Qualcomm makes a lot of the chips in most smartphones, and they make a lot of other great chips. I mean, you could go back to the first iterations of the Palm Pilot phones and the first versions of smartphones. They were all Qualcomm chips.
Right.
And so Qualcomm's a great company.
Right.
You guys work there. You work together. When do you decide, hey, we're going to go out on our own? And that's got to be a pretty tough decision because you're probably traveling a lot, but you're probably making some good bank too.
Right, right. So so I think we realized that there's a problem in the wireless space, and nobody's really addressing it. So maybe I can give you a little bit of the 30-second pitch or something. So as you know, nowadays everything is going wireless, right? So Facebook, Netflix, video streaming, voice chat, whatever, they're all going through wireless. And what is the common thing surrounding them? It's Wi-Fi. Right?
Sure.
Sorry. And Wi-Fi content is getting bigger and bigger, right? Your video is going from HD to 4K. Your voice chat becomes video chat, blah, blah, blah. So everything revolves around Wi-Fi at home.
Well, you've got the internet thing. So you've got, your lights now work.
Exactly.
Your Nest now works on Wi-Fi. Your lights now work on Wi-Fi. Your remote works on Wi-Fi. Your toothbrush works on Wi-Fi. Your scale works on Wi-Fi. Your coffee maker works on Wi-Fi. Your fridge, your stove. It all works on Wi-Fi, which is wonderful, but now they're all sucking from the same pipe.
Exactly. Well, that's one issue. But essentially, the problem with Wi-Fi is congestion. Exactly like what you said. Because there's so many devices, and especially if you live in a city environment, you have neighbors all around you. And essentially, Wi-Fi is a shared spectrum. So you and your neighbor are using exactly the same spectrum, and you essentially fight for available bandwidth. So if you have a 14-year-old kid next door that's basically BitTorrenting 24/7, it will directly affect your Wi-Fi performance because you're colliding with them.
That's why I go into his apartment. I live in an apartment building. I go into his apartment and I pull the cable.
Right.
No.
Okay. Well, that's a solution. But
right. No, but I always win the fight because I always have to have the bigger, better router.
Right. Right.
So now you've got a router that is better, lighter, and no antennas. Well, you have antennas, but they're inside.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's absolutely right. Again, so most people don't realize, but again, congestion is a problem. So typically when you see a buffer on your Netflix, who do you blame? You blame the carrier provider, right?
I blame Netflix. It's their fault.
Well,
no.
But it's really, if it's really Wi-Fi, and people don't realize this, So how do you solve it, right? So you have all this share spectrum, they're all congested. How do you solve it? It's very simple. We give you your own channel. So Portal essentially provides 4 additional 80 megahertz channel in 5 gigahertz band.
So this is going to get really heady for everybody.
Sure,
Okay, let
sure.
me simplify it a little for you. Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So think of like walkie-talkies. If I want to talk on a walkie-talkie, I might put my walkie-talkie on channel 1, and that's going to be everybody who is a vendor here is going to be on channel 1.
Exactly.
And then the security is going to be on channel 2.
Right.
And then let's say the electricians will be on channel 3, and let's say the guys who got to set up these tables will be channel 4, and
Right.
catering's going to be channel 5.
Right.
So if I want to talk to all the vendors, I would turn on my walkie-talkie to channel 1 and go, "Hello, vendors."
Right.
Okay, if I want to talk to security, I'm going to go to channel 2 and I'm going
Right.
to talk to security. We have an issue.
Right.
They can all talk to each other on channel 2.
Right.
So what happens with routers is we're all on a frequency called the 2.4 or the 5 gigahertz, and then we move to AC
Correct.
as well. Okay,
Correct.
those are frequencies that are given out kind of worldwide, that are frequencies that are available
Correct.
to use.
Correct.
And they're good spectrums. The
Correct.
2.4 is more susceptible to interference, but longer range. 5 gigahertz is less susceptible to interference,
Exactly.
but shorter range.
Correct.
And more kind of straight line, can't spread out as far.
Right.
Now, in addition to that, our cordless phones, when we got to the point where our cordless phones were good, were mostly 2.4
Exactly.
gigahertz.
Right.
And you remember you could get about 30 feet and they would drop off. Now, usually with a router, you can go about 150 to 300 feet and you're good. Okay. Now, what you don't know is inside that router, at that 5 gigahertz or 2.4, you're also given a channel
Correct.
to use.
Correct.
Now, most people are on the same channel. It's
Yes.
usually channel 11. Is that correct?
No. Okay. So what you're talking about from 1 to 11, that's 2.4 gigahertz. So 5 gigahertz channel
Yeah.
has 6 total 80 megahertz channel.
Okay.
But most retail routers only use 2.
Right.
So if you have 30, 40 neighbors, you're absolutely guaranteed you're going to be competing with other neighbors.
But what happens if they have a portal and I have a portal?
So Portal gives you 4 additional channels.
So it'll know to move it.
Exactly.
Now,
And-
how hard is it
right.
to set this up?
Oh, so okay. Maybe I can explain like why we have this 4 additional megahertz, 4 additional bandwidth.
Let's do it.
Okay, so FCC allows people to use this additional channels, but in order to use it, it's required to detect what's called radar. So this is kind of like a weather radar, for example. It's not very common. It's very rare actually, but because it's a FCC requirement, you have to be able to detect it. So in order to get this certification, it's a very long and complex process. And to tune it in a way that you'll be able to detect radar and still function properly is very difficult.
Sure.
That's our specialty.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why we're able to use this channel that other people can't.
Now, before we get more into this,
Sure.
you're a startup.
Yes.
Self-funded? Did you raise capital?
So we're already we raised seed and then we're already closed Series A.
Now,
so
was
we're doing
seed-
well financially.
Was seed friends and family?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And was this like you raised a couple 100,000? You raised $1 million, over $1 million?
So for I don't know if we can get that detail, but for seed we raised about 1.5 million.
Okay. Wow.
And Series A is more than that, but I can't
Right.
disclose
No, you don't have
that
to. That's
information,
fine.
yeah.
But I mean, that's a serious. I wanted to know because technology is expensive to prototype these to get them going.
Especially hardware.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
And you have to
Right.
program it and all that. So okay, is it going to be available soon? Is it available now?
It's available now in Amazon, $199.
$199.
Right.
All right. Let's talk about the
And-
specs and the
right.
ease of use. So let's start with the
Right.
ease of use. How
Exactly.
hard is it for me to set this up? Very lightweight. The antennas are inside. Let me ask a question about the antennas first. They're inside.
Correct.
I've seen some routers with antennas inside. Apple does it. Linksys
Yes.
does it.
Yes.
A lot of times I find that's a drawback. It doesn't seem to work. You find a better availability with
Sure.
a router that's
Sure.
got antennas on
yeah,
it.
I understand. And actually, we kind of coined the term dead cockroach
Yeah.
because you have like this router that has like an antenna sticking out.
Sure.
We hate that, right?
Yeah, it's
So-
ugly.
Exactly. So we're from Qualcomm. We know how to design RF system and antennas. We've done. This is actually. Including our previous work, this is our 8th generation access point. So
Wow.
we know how to make great routers with great performance.
How easy is it to set up?
So, and to answer that, it's extremely easy. So we made Portal with smartphone ease of use right off the bat, and it's very unique because we don't want to know anything about you. So when you first start up, all you need to do is just click setup. It automatically finds a portal, and it automatically paired to it. You just need to give a name, and there you go. It's as easy as that.
It's easy
we
as
don't
that.
ask for your email address. We don't ask for your phone. Blah blah blah.
What about firewalls? If you want to have a sling box,
Yes.
do you have to open
Yes.
ports, port forwarding, all that stuff?
Right. So this is another unique thing about Portal. We offer the simplicity of using the app, but we also have a web GUI capability as well. So if you're a techie who likes to, and I consider myself one of them, you can go inside the web GUI and you can modify settings as you did before.
Graphic User Interface. That's what GUI stands for. I just want to
Exactly.
tell the folks at home who don't know.
Right.
And if they're
Right.
keeping score, now they've got it clear.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right. So,
And actually, we just can I name us a newspaper or no?
yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're
Wait,
just
no.
recently
Stop. No.
we were just recently reviewed
wait,
in
don't say it. No, okay,
in
go.
TechCrunch.
Wow,
and-
that's great. That's
well,
not. I don't think
exactly.
it's a newspaper. It's a website.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yes,
it's a
that's
website,
Great. Congratulations.
and then the person said she set it up from the first time she unboxed it
Yeah.
to a smartphone and get internet in 7 minutes.
Wow,
So yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yes.
Very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Now, was it a good review? I said congratulations. I didn't ask if it was a good
Yes.
review.
So it's actually her. So whenever we go to journalists, we always ask them to compare before and after. So it's like a fair comparison. So her previous measurement was 1 megabit per second.
Sure.
Now it's 72.
Wait, she said
megabit.
1 megabit?
Yes.
What was going on in her
Exactly.
place?
Exactly. Well, I mean, again,
She's
if
a
you-
tech. She calls herself a tech. I gotta call
Well-
her out. Let's get her on the show.
Sure.
Yeah, let's ask her.
Well-
How could she put up with that? You can't even write an article and publish that at 1
exactly.
megabit.
But that's the problem that people don't realize. Congestion is a serious problem. And again, if you live in San Francisco, you live in New York, all of this crowded cities, you will get congestion, and your Wi-Fi throughput will suffer.
We need this in our studio and here
Absolutely.
on our set. We have a mobile set, obviously.
You
It's
can
more
have this
robust.
one.
Well, thank you. And we will do a review on it, and we absolutely
Absolutely.
have to. So, what are the speed? Does it do AC?
This is AC 2400.
Excellent.
Underneath. Yes.
And what are the speeds?
Well, I mean, it's I don't remember the exact spec, but again, it's AC 2400. 1.3 gigabit per second PHY, I believe.
Yeah.
It's a 4x4 5 gigahertz and 3x3 2x2 2.4.
Wow. So let me just show off on the back.
Yeah.
You've got
So actually, we just did some throughput measurement, and if you
Okay.
can see, so this is Portal,
yeah.
and this is with another competitor,
Come
and you can
on.
kind of see
Right here, right
Yes.
behind us.
Well, but this is a perfect environment for us because
So-
so many congestion.
That
right?
is very true.
Right.
You've got. Let me explain what you've got here. You've
Right.
got the portal set up on the table behind you.
Mm-hmm.
You also have a very robust with big antennas. We actually own one of those. One of the
Yes.
most expensive routers out there.
Right.
That is supposed to be very capable.
Yes.
You're not doing anything to it. You're just setting them up
And this is a normal iPad. There's nothing special.
off the same Ethernet feed from the building.
Right.
And you're telling me that that's 1.87
Yes.
up and 3.5 down on the
Right.
other one, and Portal is 82 down
Right.
and 29.9
So
up.
that's perfect because this is why we started our company, because we saw that the traditional router company, they don't do anything about congestion. All they do, they put higher number on the bus.
Sure.
But think about it this way: we like to call it like a traffic analogy. If you're stuck in traffic in New York in a cab,
Yeah.
have you ever asked the driver, "Hey, what's the horsepower of this car?"
No,
it doesn't matter, right? Exactly, right? So, but if you have a car that goes into the fast lane where it's no traffic, who's going to win?
Well, what I did
Right?
last night, we called a police escort to get to dinner. we had a police escort
All
to
right.
dinner.
Sure,
That worked.
sure,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it. You will get your own dedicated channel just for you.
Yeah, we didn't really call them. They just happened to be going down the boulevard.
Okay.
And we followed them. There are no
That's-
boulevards in New York. It's all avenues and streets.
Yes. It's the same thing everywhere in San Francisco, in Tokyo, in any other
Right.
major cities.
So you've got 4 Ethernet ports. So
it's
you
a
can plug
gigabit
an Ethernet
Ethernet.
in, and then
Right.
4 out.
Right.
And then you've got the 2 USB. I imagine
Right.
that's for printing and all sorts of other things. that you
for
can connect.
a hard drive. For
Hard drives.
yeah, for hard drive as
Oh
well.
wow, very cool.
Yeah.
So you can do a
Yes.
LAN.
Yes.
Wow, I'm losing my mind here. So you can do a shared hard drive.
Yes, exactly.
Shared storage.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And I want to mention one last thing. So
I'm not kicking you off yet. Don't worry.
oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So well, another thing is newer routers these days support mesh. And actually, so if you kind of notice, we have one right here, and we're doing speed test as well. Well, mesh works well. I mean, you can extend the range, but it suffers just like any other router with congestion, right? So right now, you can see that one portal beats, two portal beats three small mesh routers.
Wow.
And even further than that, I can show you if you want.
I would love to
One
see that.
portal beats three mesh
Wow.
routers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
That's
again,
very
that's
cool.
again highlighting how bad congestion problem is, right?
Well, we need to talk
Yeah.
a whole lot more about this later. We have some other ideas, some other things we've done. We do some really interesting and innovative, cutting-edge broadcasts where,
Right.
well, like I'll give you an example real quick. A couple years ago, we walked into, we created a mesh network like you're talking about. We
Right.
walked into Saks Fifth Avenue in Philadelphia.
Right.
We had the Philadelphia Eagles come in. We set up a completely wireless, all cameras were wireless on the same network,
Right.
wireless live broadcast because we didn't have time to wire the whole store with cables.
Right.
And we did this amazing broadcast. It did suffer because of congestion,
Right.
and this would be a perfect example. So we walked in, we
Absolutely.
dropped, routers everywhere, meshed the network out,
Right.
and it worked well, but it could have
Right.
worked a lot better.
Right.
I'm excited to check this out. I really
Absolutely.
am. I think it's going to be
one
great.
last thing
Thank you.
I'm going to mention, sorry. One last thing is we actually do a scan of every channel.
Yeah.
And if we detect that your channel is congested, we automatically move you to a clean channel.
Wow.
So because we have a dedicated radio that we use to scan every single channel.
What you need to do is talk to the internet service providers, because the first thing when you call up is they ask you for customer service, my internet's
Right.
not working. Do you have a router?
Yes.
And they don't want your router there
Right.
because, like you said, the
Right.
router is a lot of times the bottleneck and the weak point, especially. And then they ask you, "Are you wireless?"
Right.
And of course, your answer is yes.
Yes.
You can't avoid it, and you don't want to avoid it. It's about convenience. $199 on Amazon.
Yes. Available now.
Available now.
It's Prime. It's available in Prime, so you'll get it in 2
We're
days.
going to be doing a review on it, and we're going to use it on our mobile studio. This
Absolutely.
is awesome. It's very lightweight. It's stylish,
Yes.
too.
Yes.
I know that's important in a lot of people's
Yes.
homes.
Exactly.
And the app is for iOS, Android, and also Windows? Or
No, just Android and iOS. Yes.
Okay, that's great. That's really, really great. So how did you get into tech? When you were a kid, how did you start?
Well, I was pretty bad at everything else. So
Pretty bad at
math,
everything. You can't
math,
be bad at
math,
everything.
math and tech is the only thing I'm good at. So.
Yeah. And so, but you're interested in tech,
Yes.
and then how'd you get to Qualcomm?
Well, it's my second company that I work for is actually a chipset company.
Okay.
And I started, and this is going to sound crazy, and it's going to show how old I am, but back then, my first job is a Bluetooth engineer, and it was like literally the first time Bluetooth ever invented. So I had like one of those.
Thank you for inventing that. Thank you. I use Bluetooth all the time.
So I wore a Bluetooth headset to a restaurant, and people were like, "Is that a cell phone in your ear?" So anyway, but yeah. So and then after
You're
that,
like,
I just
yes, I'm
basically
from the future.
I know, right? And then after that, I just kind of jumped from chipset chipset company to chipset company, and then I ended up in Qualcomm.
How hard was it to
Yeah.
make the transition to say, okay, with your buddies here
Right.
from Qualcomm, we're going to leave
Right.
our high-paying jobs, and
Right.
we're gonna dive off that cliff and take the chance.
It's not easy, right? And I did a lot of soul searching, and but ultimately, right, we see a market that we think really didn't innovate all that much.
But it's a
And,
crowded marketplace too.
It is
so
a crowded
that's
market,
It's
right?
hard to get into. I mean,
Exactly.
everything's crowded today.
But
right?
again, we came from the chipset company. We know what the
Right.
market looks like, so we kind of know what the weaknesses are and what the
Still
strengths
scary.
are.
Some sleepless nights.
Oh yeah, and lots of months where we don't get paid.
Right.
So,
And what's the hardest
yeah.
part about being an entrepreneur? Is it when you look at that bank account at the end of the night, you watch it decreasing, not going this way, and you're like, wow, we're flying the 747, and we don't have a place to land it yet, and we're running
Right.
out of fumes?
Right. I think that's definitely a big part of that. Another part of that is try to kind of educate people, because router, again, as you said, is a normal commodity. But the way we're kind of tackling it in a different
Right.
way requires people to understand our technology.
And it's
So
hard to
that's-
say
yeah.
my router is better than your router. It takes
Exactly.
a lot of
Exactly.
education. What's the
Exactly.
best advice you could give to young entrepreneurs?
I think definitely understand your market before you jump in, and really have a saving in the bank. Definitely, that's why I'm not young anymore, right? So I have some savings in the bank, and but just go for it. I think has been a very rewarding experience, and I recommend it for every entrepreneur that wants to start.
You would recommend it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's either savings or sleep in your car and eat ramen noodles.
Sure.
Shower at the gym.
I'm not that young anymore. I can't. I don't think I can do that anymore. But yeah.
I'm with you. I can't do the ramen noodles or the sleeping in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much,
All right,
Eric.
thank
This
you
is
very much
great.
for having
I
me.
really appreciate you coming on. You got to check
Absolutely.
out Portal. It's really awesome. We're going to take a. We're not even going to take a break. We're just going to bring on the next guest, who's going to be ready, and we're going to certainly give you a full review of Portal. We're going to use it on our mobile set especially. We're going to probably wind up buying one for our regular set, because the reality is we need this product all the time on location. We run into congestion, and so this is something that can help us. Obviously, this can help you guys as well. I'm going to give that to Eric and thank him again. What a great company. I like the names too. Portal, of course, is a great name, and the name of the company is phenomenal. Just go to Amazon and look up Portal. Find out all about it. It's a really reasonably priced router that hopefully will work really well. So we'll tell you more about it, but you can go check it out on Amazon. I'm sure it's got great reviews. And find that review in TechCrunch, and that'll be cool.